Hello, I'm going to show you how to make another type of catapult. So you want to get two tall containers like these cartons, and I filled them already with water. I'm going to add a little bit more so you can see, but I filled them with as much water as I can because I want them to be good and heavy. I want to increase their mass. If they didn't have any water in them, they would be too light and they would tip over. Make sure this one has a little bit more water. Make sure you wash these out before you put the water in. All right, now we're going to make one of our paper tubes. So I'm going to fold my piece of paper in half, and then I'm going to cut it in half because I actually want two small tubes. I'm going to make sure I cut this as straight as I can. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. And it's always a good idea to have your materials ready, like having your tape all cut up and ready to go. Okay, so now I'm just going to use my pencil like we've learned before, and I'm going to make a small paper tube. Remember, it takes a lot of practice. I've been doing this for a long time. When I first learned to make paper tubes, I found it really frustrating because it took me a lot of practice before I was able to do it well. So don't get frustrated. Okay, so now my paper tube is really tight, but I'm going to loosen it up. These paper tubes, we want them to be just a little bit loose. See how I can fit that pencil in, and there's a lot of room left over? That's what we want. We're going to tape it good and tight. That part we really do want to be strong. So there's my first side. Notice I didn't quite tape all of it, tape most of it. Here's my second paper tube. As always, I'm going to start by curling the end. That's going to make it easier for me to be able to roll. And now I have a pretty tight paper tube. Normally we would want that, but this time we don't. So I'm going to let it get a little loose, a little bit more. And that looks pretty good. I want to make sure that they're about the same looseness. There we go. That one looks pretty good. And I'm going to tape this down as well. Got to make sure you smooth that tape down. Don't want this to fall apart later. This part's going to be holding our fulcrum. That's the middle part that's going to rotate in our catapult. So here's my throwing arm. It's a spoon. And I want to make sure, I'm going to use that pencil as a fulcrum, that I put the spoon, or I put the fulcrum, I should say, up close to the spoon part. Don't put it down too low. Don't put it in the middle. That's not really so good either. You really want it up pretty close to the actual spoon's head. Right about there. Now I'm going to make sure that I tape this on really good and tight. If you have glue, if you have rubber bands, if you want to use string, any way that you get your throwing arm attached to your fulcrum, that's fine. I'm going to use tape and I'm going to put it on in an X shape. So I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Okay, so I'm going to fold it around the back. I want to make sure that the spoon makes a lot of contact with the fulcrum, with the pencil. So now I'm going to go the other way. That's the X shape. So you're going to tape it on diagonally. Make sure you pull it tight and smooth it down. Okay, just like that. That's looking pretty good. I had to adjust it a little bit, but it looks like it's going to spin. So now my big, heavy pillars that I've made out of these cartons, I'm going to attach my little tubes to the top. Now I have one binder clip right here. If you have binder clips, that's really great. Use those. But maybe you don't have binder clips. I also have a clothespin, so I'm going to attach the other side with a clothespin. Either of those would work. If you don't have any types of clamps or pins, use some tape, use some glue. Anything that you can find is fine. You don't have to use exactly what I did. So now I'm going to put my fulcrum in the middle, and look at this. My fulcrum can spin all by itself. That's what we want. That fulcrum should be able to spin and spin and spin. Now, just for a little extra security, I'm going to put some tape on my paper tubes, because remember, they're holding my fulcrum in place. I don't want it to come falling out later. Okay. Now I'm going to use some rubber bands, and I'm going to use my trusty old slip knot. So you're going to take your 2 rubber bands, you're going to reach inside one, grab the other side of that same rubber band and pull it through, just like that. Yep, there we go. Okay, we're going to try again. Okay. Ooh, there's some tape on my finger. Yucky. Let me get that off and try again. Okay. Gonna reach through one side, grab the other side of that yellow rubber band and pull it through. Now I have 3 rubber bands tied together with 2 slip knots. All right, now I'm using this can, and I'm going to add some water. I added some more water earlier, but I'm going to let you see what it looks like. I'm going to add a bit more water because, again, I want to increase the mass of this. This is going to be an anchor for all those rubber bands. So we want it to be good and heavy. You could even use a can that hasn't been opened yet. Just ask permission first. So there's my 3 rubber bands. And I'm going to attach one side to my throwing arm. That's my spoon. I'm just going to twist it around a couple times just to test out, see how it works. I'm going to put another rubber band on the end just to keep it from sliding off. So I'm going to put that one on second. I'm going to try and put it on really, really tight. I don't want my rubber band to come off my throwing arm if I can help. Okay. Almost done. Sometimes it takes a while. Gotta be patient. All right, that looks like it's on there. So now I'm going to take my rubber band. I'm just going to find a way to attach it to my anchor. Now I like that I have a bit of an elastic action happening there. My throwing arm is snapping back. So I'm going to give it a test. Remember, use something soft like cotton or some tissue or even some paper you've rolled into a ball. Now that worked pretty good. You can't see it off screen, but it shot really high and really far. I liked how that tested out. I'm going to try a couple things though. I'm going to extend the length of my rubber band, and then I'm going to see if I can position my anchor farther away from my fulcrum. I just want to test it and see how it works. If I like it, I'll keep it. If I don't, I can always reverse it and go back to the way it was. So I'm going to try it here, far away. Let's see. All right, time for a test. Awesome.